Hey, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of Minimalist Monday. Minimalist Monday is a new series on my channel in which I answer user-generated questions. The questions are usually coming from YouTube, Instagram, and sometimes via email. And today's video is all about combining being a maker with minimalism. Let me read the question to you. How can I combine minimalism with being a maker? And examples included making your own cleaning products, making your own clothing, making your own furniture, all that good stuff. Now let me start off by saying that I consider myself a maker as well. I had an Etsy store together with my man selling soap when I was living in New York City. In New York City, I also made my own body care products and I made various items myself. I've been a maker all my life. I always considered making things as something really enjoyable, and making YouTube videos to some extent is of course part of that. And for soap making and making body care products, you do need a handful of tools to simply complete the task and make it work. And the same goes for baking and cooking. I consider that within that category as well, of sorts, because in order to bake a cake, you do need certain tools. In order to make a curry, you may need certain tools. You get the idea. Certain tasks simply call for certain tools. Let me quickly explain to you what minimalism means for me. Minimalism for me is having things around me and doing things that add value to my life and letting go of everything that doesn't. I think that's really important because everyone's definition of minimalism will vary, and depending on how you view minimalism, you will of course view things a little differently. Now I approach this in a very simple manner, and let me briefly explain this to you. Whether it's baking, cooking, making soaps, making my own body care products, whatever it may be that I'm making and creating, I only have tools at hand that I absolutely need. I don't have any extra tools or materials that I don't need. If something that I've previously used to make stuff no longer proves to be useful, then I simply let go of it. I'm not one to hold on to items that I think I might need in the oh so distant future. That's simply not me. So my tip to you is go through everything that you have and only keep what you truly need to get the project done. If you have something that you think you might need in the oh so distant future, big maybe, then let go of it. Give it to someone who can actually make use of it right now and not 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years from now. Because there's no point to hold on to something that you no longer need. Of course, if you know that you'll definitely need it 6 months from now for this particular project, then keep it in a safe space, hold on to it, and use it. However, if you see that you actually haven't used it and a year has passed, then just give this particular item or tool to someone else who is actually using it. And when I say let go of it, I mean to let go of the item in question in a responsible manner. I usually give it to people that want the item, so just ask someone, hey, could you use this? If they say yes, give it to them. Don't just dump things onto people. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, I just want to emphasize this. Don't just dump things onto people. And the same thing goes for organizations. If you plan on donating it to a charity shop or a school or some sort of organization, then just check in with them if what you have is something they can actually use. Another thing that I would like to mention is simplicity. I enjoy baking, I enjoy cooking, I enjoy making soaps. That being said, I keep all those tasks as simple as possible. In New York City, I primarily used my flatmate's kitchen tools. I simply didn't have any of my own, and it's not that it would have fit. However, I did have a handful of things that I was using on a regular basis that I absolutely loved. And I did make a video about my kitchen essentials that you can check out on my channel, and the same goes for baking. For baking in New York City, I had a handful of tools that I used on a regular basis, and I always made sure to keep my baking and my cooking fairly simple. If I saw a recipe that would call for 1,000,000 ingredients that I know I wouldn't use on a regular basis. Then I simply moved on and tried a different recipe that would call for fewer ingredients and ingredients that I either already had at hand or that I knew I would use up within a reasonable amount of time. And the same goes for soap making. When my man and I were running our Etsy store, we only had the tools at hand that we really needed. I also used a lot of the products that I was using for making soap, for making body care items. Lots of the items that I did have for making these things could actually be used for loads of different purposes and products that I was making at the time. And that's also something important, I believe. If you are making something, look for items that have more than just one purpose. Of course, sometimes that's not easy. Sometimes an item just has one purpose and can only be used for this particular task. However, generally speaking, just make sure that whatever you do have, if at all possible, serves multiple purposes. And in my opinion, being a maker and living minimal goes together beautifully. I love making things. It's one of my biggest passions, actually. And I wouldn't want to go without it. And if you've been with my channel for a while, then you know that I don't think black and white. Everyone will have a different opinion on this topic. This is just my personal opinion and how I view things. And the guidelines that I just shared with you, I really apply to everything in my life. I only keep what adds value. I only keep what I really need to complete a project or to make something or to complete a certain task. I give items away the minute I see, oh, I'm no longer using this or I won't be using this for the next 2 to 5 years. And I declutter on a regular basis to make sure that I use up what needs using up and to also make sure that I let go of something as soon as I see that I no longer have a use for it. And whenever I do let go of something, I always envision the person that I'm thinking of giving it to. And last time I decluttered when I was living in New York City, I actually gave loads of products that I was using to make my own beauty products and soap products to a friend, and she really loved what I gave her. And of course I asked her beforehand, hey, could you use these things? And she was like, what? Of course! And that was really lovely. If you are a maker and you want to embrace minimalism, then just declutter, go through it all, and only keep what you really need right now. There's no point in holding on to items that you may need in the oh so distant future, because that's the real waste. Holding on to something that you don't intend to use in the immediate future, I personally find quite wasteful. If you no longer need something, pass it on. Spread the love, just give it to someone who can actually use it. I find it a lot more wasteful to be holding on to things that I no longer use and that I know could be of use to someone else. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Minimalist Monday. If you've got any questions or video suggestions, then please comment down below. You're also more than welcome to comment on one of my Instagram posts. Just send me your suggestions and questions if you have any. As always, have a lovely day and see you next time.